Another response to gun violence is an event being organized Monday by the news outlet The Blackstonian. For almost 3 months, the publisher and editor of Blackstonian has been keeping count of all the shootings in Boston since the marathon bombing took place in April. Though homicides for all of Boston are slightly down from last year, the number has almost doubled in one police district, Roxbury's Area B2. Citywide this year, shootings have increased over last year's count by more than 21%, and fatal shootings have increased by more than 60%. To tell us about the planned Rally for Solutions is the editor and publisher of Blackstonian, Jamarhl Crawford. Thank you very much for being with us, Jamarhl.
Thanks for having me.
First of all, the keeping count. You started pretty much right around the time of the marathon. So what got you going?
We looked at the response and the outpouring of concern and whatnot for what everybody agrees was a tragic, event. But what we chose to do was highlight the crime and the trauma, the violence that we experience pretty much on a daily basis, and just kind of did it to point out, the desensitization and what we believe is the devaluation of black life, and somewhat a little bit of the, overall kind of hypocrisy in society that in cases of violence or kidnappings or what have you, they seem to value one life over another. And we say that, any murder, one is too many, and that any murder deserves the attention that it got from law enforcement, community, etc. So we're just trying to use the media to highlight that issue.
The Amy Lord case, I would say within South Boston, the reaction was pretty much what it was a couple of years ago when some other women were killed. So that's a constant, but I think outside of South Boston, there seems to have been a difference.
Well, I would say for the Amy Lord thing, we can certainly say that it's gotten more media attention than anything by the mainly the newspapers. Somebody online did a thing, and there was 11 stories about Amy Lord as opposed to one about another gentleman who was recently murdered. And so for us, particularly as Black and Latino communities, we see these disparities so much that it really gets you hypersensitive to being marginalized. And, that's really what this speaks to. And the rally is, to address that and call attention to our cries and pleas for not just help, but also, systemic policy type of changes.
Well, every so often there are people from the black community who fit the prototype of the innocent victim that we feel outraged about. Yes, they tend to be very young, but when you confine it to someone like that, what do we lose?
Well, I would even make a case that there's not the level of outrage there. If we can remember the 13-year-old young man in my neighborhood on Humboldt Avenue, AKA H Block, who was on his way to choir practice of all things, and he gets shot. And there was a little bit of a hullabaloo for a couple of days, but it's all died down, and it was certainly not anything of the magnitude of the attention that Amy Lord got. Now, of course, she was murdered. He was just shot. But we can go, case for case for case. And I would submit that I don't believe that they received the same amount of attention. If we actually did like a hard data comparison, I think that for some of us who live in the areas of Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan, I think that the largest society in our city kind of tends to look at those as the regular murders, the ones that are kind of wink, wink, supposed to happen or are gonna happen anyway. What can we do about it? So it's the ones that seem to be out of the norm, quote unquote, that get more attention. And what we have to do is question what is the norm.
Fortunately, that young teen who was shot, he survived, although he's gonna have problems for a while.
Right.
But I understand that led to a lot of attention from authorities, a lot of pressure on people to try to solve that particular case. So is this about also authorities not doing enough or not doing the right kind of thing?
That's my belief. As you know, I've been a longtime critic of the BPD on many issues. One of those issues would be, their rates of, apprehension, getting suspects, clearance rates. And when you talk to the people involved, the Boston Police Department, Dan Conley, and others, Suffolk DA Dan Conley, current candidate for mayor, people will tell you that, well, we have problems getting information, witnesses, and so on and so forth. And it's kind of points the finger back at the community when I believe that these major institutions whose duty it is to solve these crimes, I mean, I think that they are the ones who have the weight of that and the responsibility of that to do more. They have, multi-million-dollar budgets. They have cars and radios and guns and their own intelligence and surveillance methods that are increasing by the day. So I'm critical of that. I think that more can be done, and I think that we need to have all ideas at the table from all people who have shown a true desire to actually make a change, and some of it is too much cozy relationships.
The cases this year, most of them do seem to involve parties, whether it's the victim or the perpetrator, who are at least into their 20s. And one thing I've heard from the mayor and police is that one thing we're seeing more of, people being let go maybe because of problems in the state drug lab. The courts are, they're not keeping locked up some people who maybe are so bad that they should be locked up a long time.
Well, if that is the case, then I would hope that the BPD would provide that data, or Suffolk DA Dan Conley's office would provide that data to show that this recent spate of violence is in fact attributed to people who have been released via Dukin's and the state drug lab's missteps. Absent that data, that's a little bit hard of a pill to swallow, and we know that every summer we have these spikes in violence, which once again to me brings up the issue that how can you have something that you can pretty much predict with certainty is going to occur at a certain time of the year, and with all your efforts still have such difficulty stemming it.
Well, you're having the rally on Monday. This is going to be about solutions. So do we have solutions now, or is this something you hope will happen?
Oh, no, yes. I mean, I myself have come up with some more recent new solutions, new ideas with the standard hat that I've been, talking about probably for the past 5 or 10 years. But the call for the rally is also a call for other people who have ideas, valid, tangible ideas where they think something could change in city policy, policing, or what have you, and we want to take people from just the rallying aspect of it to actually a movement. And we plan to go inside City Hall and serve as a lobby day, if that's the correct term, as many times we've done in the State House. But go and talk to the city officials, City Council, and the mayor's office, and tell them about our ideas. Now, here's a couple of ideas. We've asked, put in a request to Chief Linsky, to make available the quote-unquote hotspots that they've already designated. It's about, I believe, 16 or 17 areas that they've designated as hotspots. We want that map publicly available so that we can, cross-reference that with other data that we're collecting. Also, too, they have a list of impact players, about 300 quote-unquote impact players, as they've labeled them. We would like access to that list so that myself and others who have the ability to communicate with this group of largely young men who come from similar backgrounds.
Now, it sounds like the quarry is going to be a problem here. You might know who they are, they might know who they are, but maybe they're not supposed to tell you anything about it.
Well, what they've identified as impact players, it's not like they would be giving us their criminal records. I think that they're saying that these are the people in the area who have an impact on the crime and the violence. I know that information has been shared at some of the cozy meetings that they have, primarily with groups of individuals who share their same philosophy, but I'm asking them not to release it publicly on the web, but to a small group of concerned citizens, myself and others, so that we can do a targeted outreach campaign to those individuals and hopefully turn them away from what it is by providing them with better options. And then another point is that I've had this idea for a long time about kiosks in neighborhoods. And when I think about kiosks, when we have a construction site development and they begin to build, they roll out a trailer, and that kind of serves as a little headquarters for everything that's going on. I would like to see trailers like that correlated with the areas that they've already identified as hot spots, and we could probably get some of the developers of the city to contribute some of that so that we can have a presence there, not just a policing presence, but a kiosk also where people can go in, ask questions, find out about community programs for children and so on and so forth. So a way that is tangible, that is cost effective. It'll be pretty cheap to do that, and I think would have a major impact in those areas.
So the plan is we're having a rally or something before the rally that people should know about?
Well, yes, we're also separately, not before, but on August 5th is the date of the rally. Subsequently to that, we're continuing doing movements. We have the Boston Black Agenda, which is part and parcel to all of this, so that the ideas that come out of this rally that are going to be pretty much focused on public safety and violence, these are all things that are already in the Boston Black Agenda as we're compiling it, and will be resonating on and on and on. Everyone is concerned about this issue, and there's a couple of means that we have to deal with it. And we will be back on City Hall Plaza April 19th, actually, for a feel-good event to honor the legacy of the Honorable Marcus Garvey and raise the red, black, and green flag as we've done in the past over City Hall Plaza.
And then the rally on Monday is at what time at City Hall Plaza?
3 p.m. City Hall Plaza. People should come, join us. Please, beforehand, if you can, send your ideas to us in advance. Our email is blackstonian.com@gmail.com, and folks can send in so we could already have stuff printed out and compiled to a certain degree. And please come on down with your friends, your family. And because we hit this sad milestone of 100, we've said that at a minimum, we want 100 people on City Hall Plaza who give a darn about this situation and really care and are willing to roll up their sleeves and sacrifice some of their time and energy to come up with some creative and innovative solutions.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, sir.
From Blackstonian, Jamarhl Crawford. Still to come, making the most of the new rail service in Boston's neighborhoods. But first, this message.